CIL 650 presents It's Your Money, an up-close and personal look at your finances. Here's your host, Fred Snyder.
Up in the morning and out to school. The teacher is teaching the
Back to school. And indeed, we are back. We're talking about your money and how to keep it. Keyword, keep it. Most of us earn a small fortune during our lifetimes, but we don't do a very good job of keeping it. And it really isn't about how much we make that counts. It's about how much we keep. So what are you doing? What is your plan that's going to help you keep more of what you earn? You need to take a real serious look. If you don't have a financial plan, you need to take a real serious look about how do I get a financial plan. Well, certainly one way to do that is make a phone call. If you phone this show, we'll provide you with a no-cost, no-obligation written financial plan. And I'm going to give the numbers out right now, 604-280-0650. Repeat, 604-280-0650. If you're calling long distance, it's 877-280-0650. This show is also a webcast, so you can log on, www.cisl.650.com. And some people are shy, they're reluctant to talk on the air. If you're in that group, you can talk to Frida. Frida's down at the office right now, area code 604-737-3512. A long distance, 1-800-661-1495. We'll be in Nanaimo Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So if you're over there, you want an appointment to see myself, call Frida, talk to Frida, make arrangements. I'll be at the Coast Bastion Hotel. As usual, that's my monthly trip to the island. So once again, we're here to teach you what you need to know to make better financial decisions. People don't make good financial decisions, and that's why they fail financially. They don't have a financial plan. They don't have a financial planner to coach them, and they don't have the best products inside that particular plan. So just what is financial independence? What is it? How do you know whether you're financially independent or not? Everybody wants it. Few people can define it. Some people during their lifetimes will earn a small fortune, but unfortunately, very few will keep very much of what they earn. And the primary reason is because they do not have a written financial plan. So how many listeners, people listening to this show right now, how many of you out there in Radio Land right now can honestly put your hand up and say, I have a written financial plan? Or better still, I can tell you what it is. I say to some people, do you have a financial plan? And they look at me kind of with glassy eyes and they say, duh. They don't even know what it is. So let's talk about what it is. A financial plan is a blueprint. In that blueprint, it defines where you stand right now. It says, this is a list of my assets. This is a list of my liabilities. This is a list of my income from all sources. And this is a list of my expenditures from all sources. The difference between income and expenses is called cash flow, positive or negative or neutral. Some people have a positive cash flow. That means they got money left over at the end of every month. Some people have nothing left over. That's a neutral cash flow. And some people have a shortfall that they finance with credit cards and debt. That's called a negative cash flow. That's the worst position of all. So when you earn $1, there's three things you can do with it. You can spend it all. You can spend more than the dollar, which means if you spend more than that dollar that come in, you got to borrow the difference. Or you can spend 90 cents and you can put 10 cents of that dollar away for your financial future. That, ladies and gentlemen, is called paying yourself first. So again, I remind you, we're talking about your money and how to keep it. And the key word, again, is how to keep it. The secret is to spend less than you earn. The second part of that equation is to invest that money in investments which provide you with a real rate of return after taxes and inflation. And the next part of the equation is to have a financial planner to guide you and help you, making sure that you have the best investments inside your portfolio. I took this clipping out of the paper a while back. It says only 22,463 days left until retirement. I want you to ask yourself this question. How many days do I have left between now and retirement? Or if I'm already retired, how long am I going to be retired? What's my life expectancy? Do you have any idea what those numbers are? Because if you're a newborn baby, you got 22,463 days left, but I doubt very much that there's too many newborn babies listening to this show right now. So maybe you're 30 or 40 or 50 years of age. Maybe you're rich. Maybe you're poor. Maybe you're worried. Maybe you're happy. Maybe you have a financial plan. Maybe you don't. Maybe you have a financial planner. Maybe you don't. If you have one, you might not be happy with your financial planner for whatever reason. You have a portfolio of securities and you're worried about those securities because the markets last week were extremely volatile, and you're wondering where the markets are going. Are we going to have another market meltdown like we had back in '08? Maybe that's what's on your mind. But there's got to be something on your mind, because really, if you have any money, even if you don't have any money, and you're not worried, you should be. Fear, F-E-A-R, stands for false evidence appearing real. So the opposite of fear is knowledge. So how do you get the knowledge you need to be able to make good, solid, sound financial decisions? How do you get that? Well, listen to this show. Read books. We'll give you all kinds of suggestions on great books to read. Become a client of mine. Attend my workshops and seminars. Listen to other radio. Listen to Michael Campbell. Good stuff on there. Listen to Fareed Zakaria this morning on CNN. Great words, very positive, very, very solid information that's out there right now. CNN is saying, hey, what do you do in these kind of markets? Don't do something stupid. Doing something stupid is, I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out of Dodge. I'm going to sell my portfolio when I'm down. I've lost some money. That's not the thing to do. Probably the thing to do is to buy more. Because if it was a good deal when it was worth more, it's a better deal now when you can buy it at a discount. So if you like tuna fish, as an example, and they put tuna fish on sale, you go to the grocery store and you can get 25% off, you stock up on tuna fish. So maybe it's time to stock up on stocks, equity investments. Now let's just talk briefly about your portfolio. You have a portfolio of investments. Here's the key question. Is that portfolio of investments suitable for you? And what does suitable mean? Well, it means this. Are you getting the rate of return that you need to achieve your objectives? That's part of it. Are you getting the rate of return that you need to achieve your objectives? The second part of it is the portfolio too risky? Not risky enough? Does it suit my tolerance for risk? What is my tolerance for risk? What should my portfolio look like? What should the asset allocation be? That's the amount of money that's invested in fixed income investments, the amount of money that's invested in equities, and the amount of my portfolio that's in cash. What should that mix look like? What is it? And what should it be? And if I need to change it, how do I change it? And how do I find a financial advisor who's knowledgeable, that I can trust? Again, if you call the show, we have a book on that particular topic. We'll be happy to provide you with a copy of that book simply by making a phone call. We also have a great book on will. So if you're high net worth and you have a lot of money, you may need to have some estate planning. And you need to have a proper will. Maybe you need to learn more about preparing a will. Maybe you need to talk about an enduring power of attorney, representation agreements, and all those other things. Maybe you need to talk about your executor, your executrix, the guardians for your children, and so on. Maybe you need to answer the question, how do I deal with the issue of the deemed disposition? Some people say, well, I got all these investments, but I don't pay tax unless I sell them. Well, I got news for you. Someday you're going to sell them, because the moment you die, you're deemed to have sold them by CRA. And when that happens, CRA says, let's see, if we pretend they're not talking to you because you're gone. They're talking to your executor. So they talk to your executor and they say, well, if all these assets were sold right now, they'd sell for $5 million. And the book value of these investments is $1 million. So we got a $4 million capital gain. So that means tax on $2 million. Send us the tax. Where's the money come from? Where do you get it? What do you sell to raise the money? Are you paying too much for the wrong kind of life insurance? You listened to the show earlier today. I listened to it on the way out here. That was a replay. But there was an example in there of a client that came into my office that was paying $300 a month for life insurance and said to me, this insurance is coming up for renewal. To renew it, it's going to cost me $900 a month. Ouch. I haven't got $900 a month, so what do I do now? One option. Cancel the life insurance? Can't buy more to replace it? What you should have done was buy the right kind in the first place, but you bought the wrong kind. Again, I beg the question, are you paying too much for the wrong kind of life insurance? So we talk on this show about this and much, much, much more. Let's take some calls. We'll talk to Sandy from Vancouver. Sandy, welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Sandy. How you doing?
Good. I'm just phoning because I'm concerned about the markets, and I know I have some energy investments, and I wanted to get your opinion on energy at this time, whether it's a good time to buy or what people should do.
It's a tough call. I listened to the issue on energy, and they were talking about what various countries in the world have to sell oil for in order to just meet their balance of payments, and it varies from country to country. There was a time that the U.S. was short of oil. Apparently there's a glut of oil right now. We have more oil than we need all of a sudden. Let me say this, that the last time we had problems with oil was in 2008, and at that time it took, I believe it was 67 or 87. I'm not sure I remember. I think it was $87 a barrel out of the tar sands. That's what the cost of production was, which meant they had to sell it for more than that, or there was no point of taking it out of the ground.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anybody that really knows. It's going to take a bit of time, but oil is starting to recover somewhat right now.
Yeah, and I think that the heavy oil is needed in the States for the refineries, so I think Alberta has a good position there.
Well, they have shale right now, and they have sideways drilling. They can drill for oil straight down, and they run out of oil in that hole. But now they can drill sideways until they hit some more oil. That's what they're doing. And whoever would have thought that we were going to see the day when the U.S. would have more oil than it needs? Okay. And again, electric cars. I have 2 electric cars right now. I'm getting 250 miles to the gallon.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, the basic person can't afford an electric car. So,
well, you can get yourself a Chevy Volt for about $35,000 right now. It's expensive, but it's not too bad.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about a Tesla, which is like over 100,000. But my wife has a Chevy Volt, and we just love it. Had it for 3 years. Recommend it highly.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking of people that are invested in the oil sands. I understand that the oil sands are unique, and that oil is needed, so and they're also sending it over to Europe because of the shortage in Germany and this sort of thing.
Well, the bottom line is, as they come up with alternative energy from various sources, renewable energy and so on, they can get energy from the wind, they can get it from the waves, they can get it from the sun. There's all kinds of sources of energy. And I think they're going to find ways to get around the issue of oil. And it's not a question of, they have to do that. Because we're going to run out of oil. That's it. So they got to find a way for alternative energy, and I think we're on the right track right now. But on the shorter haul, I think the energy issue may be coming to an end. I don't know for sure. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you what all the issues are. Apparently, for Russia, as an example, I think it was $1. it was $110 a barrel to reach equilibrium. That's what they said. So Russia has to sell at $110 a barrel. I think the U.S. was 105. It gave the number for various countries. I can't remember them all, but it varies from country to country.
Yes.
So the bottom line is that when it comes to energy, we have more oil than we need right now at this moment, and that's what's driving the price down. But there's something of a recovery going on, and we'll see. Get you a much better idea tomorrow morning when I look at the futures. Get up early, about 5 o'clock, turn CNN on, look at the futures, and you'll get a pretty good idea what the markets are going to do tomorrow.
Okay.
And tomorrow's going to give us a pretty good idea where we're going. If tomorrow's a good day, then it's probably quieted down for a while, the volatility. If it's not a good day, maybe we're right back where we were last week.
Exactly.
So I don't pretend that I have a crystal ball. I wish I did.
Well, thanks very much.
Okay, Sandy, I really appreciate your call. And you know, ladies and gentlemen and listeners, the only way to deal with volatility is to diversify, diversify, diversify. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. You try to find investments that are negatively correlated so that if one goes up, the other's going down. They never go in the same direction, and you spread it across the two of them. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. You don't bet the farm on any one thing. You diversify. And you can mitigate risk that way. You can never eliminate it. Market risk is called systematic risk, and the choosing of investments within each market is called unsystematic risk. I could talk a lot about that, but I'd rather talk to John, who is calling from Vancouver. John, welcome to the program.
Hello?
Hi, John. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Fred?
I'm pretty good.
God bless you and everybody on the show.
Oh, thank you.
A quick question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if you did financial plans for people on, like, close to minimum wage.
Yes.
So I work at a pub, right, and I make around $12 an hour. And I just feel at the end of every month there's just so much strain on my wallet, basically. I was wondering if you had any solutions for that.
I do. It's called a budget.
But that's the thing.
What you have to do, John, you have to sit down with somebody like myself, or you have to do it yourself. You got to do a research project. You have to minimize your spending. And I know that it can be tough if you don't make much money. But the first thing you do, you say, what can I cut back on? For example, if you own a house, you might consider deferring your property taxes if you can. If you're paying income tax, there may be some way you can reduce the income tax that you pay. You pay too much for the wrong kind of life insurance, there might be some way to reduce your costs there. If you go to work and you eat out when you go to work, brown bag it, take a lunch, or don't eat lunch at all. Find a way to go through how you spend your money right now and try to peel a little bit off of each item. And at the end of the day, when you add that column up, you'll find that you might find yourself $100 a month or $200 a month extra. But one thing you cannot do this, is spend more than you earn. So if your spending is greater than what your earnings are, then your life has got to be miserable. Because you're living hand to mouth, you're broke on payday.
Yeah. But how much would you say I'm able to save with, let's say, if I have $100 left a month? Because
you say if you got $100 left a month, you save $100 a month.
But then I'll still always be working then, no?
Well, I don't know. It depends how much time you got now. If you can save $100 a month for 40 years, it's going to add up to a lot of money. If you can save $100 a month for 10 years, it's not going to be nearly so much. You know, I have an example that I use a lot, and it goes like this. My first car in 1954 was a 48 Chev.
Yeah.
It cost me $600.
Okay, well,
I went to the Bank of Montreal. I borrowed the $600. My father co-signed for me. I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
I paid $50 a month in payments. I had the car for about 6 months, and I needed to have a brand new car. So I traded the car on a 55 Plymouth. It cost me $2,700 difference. I financed the $2,700 with Industrial Acceptance Corporation. The payment was $83 a month for 30 months. Templeton Growth Fund started back at the same time. I said to myself, I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't traded the 48 Chev on the 55 Plymouth. I took the money that I paid for the 55 Plymouth, invested in Templeton Growth Fund. How much would I have today? You know what the number is? $2.5 million. So back then, in yesterday's dollars, the 55 Plymouth cost me $2,700. But in today's dollars, it cost me $2.5 million. I didn't know that. I didn't know any better. I wasn't smart enough to know any better. There weren't radio shows like this one to listen to. And this is all the benefit of hindsight. I probably wouldn't have bought Templeton Growth Fund because hardly anybody even knew about it back then. So it's all hypothetical. But the bottom line is that that's what it's about. We have to somehow manage our spending. Financial planning basically starts with, how do I spend my money? Am I spending too much? Am I spending too little? How can I find some extra money to save and invest? That's a budget. Do you have a budget right now?
Not really. It's just paycheck to paycheck.
That's where the problem starts. And you know something? I know wealthy people that have the same problem as you. It's all proportional. So what you need is a budget. So you can go online. If you got a computer, you can go online. You go on the Scotiabank webpage, or you can go at BMO or RBC or my webpage. You can find calculators in there to calculate your budget.
Okay.
And I challenge you to do that. And if you want benchmark figures, go to DBS, Dominion Bureau of Stats Canada. So if you go to the Stats Canada webpage, you'll find out what the average family in Vancouver spends per month, and use that as a guide.
Okay, that sounds pretty good.
But rather than do nothing and hope that it's going to change tomorrow, because it won't, become proactive with your whole financial situation. Not reactive, proactive. And say, the proactive step that I need to take is called a budget. I'm going to get a budget. If you need some help with the budget, call me. Call me at the office. I'll be happy to help you with it.
Okay, will do, Fred. Thank you so much for your insight.
John, can't tell you how much I appreciate your call.
No, thank you so much. I'll be thinking a lot about what you just told me.
Okay, and if you want to talk to Frida, you can reach Frida right now. Frida's down at the office, 604-737-3512. Give her a call.
You betcha. Thank you so much.
Have a nice weekend.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Okay, John's line is open right now. If you just joined us, I'm certified. Feel like a piece of beef. I'm a certified financial planner, Fred Snyder. I'm also a registered financial planner, 2 professional designations, got lots of experience. I represent Scotia McLeod. We believe that you're richer than you think, and we'll help you figure out how. You need to find some money to save and invest? We'll help you find it. You know, the average Canadian saves 5 cents out of every dollar they earn. That's average. By cutting your taxes, mitigating your taxes by 25%, reducing the cost of your insurance by 25%, I can show you a way to increase your savings from 5 cents to 15 cents out of every dollar. That's a 300% increase. So that's the issue that we were talking about with John. You can find a way to do it. Investors used to say, start in a small way if you like, but start. Say to yourself, from now on, every time I make a buck, 10 cents out of that dollar I keep for me. I can't spend it. I can only spend 90 cents out of every dollar that I take home. And that's take home. That's after tax. I can only spend 90 cents. 10 cents has to go someplace, be it the bank account. If you keep putting that extra 10 cents in the bank account, guess what? You're going to have another problem down the road. You're going to have too much money in the bank. Too much money in the bank means I'm not making enough money, interest on that money, to cover taxes and inflation. So I need to invest some of that money. Maybe I'm going to talk to my bank manager and buy some mutual funds from the bank manager. Maybe I'm going to talk to an independent financial advisor like Fred Snyder, who represents Scotia McLeod and represents everybody that's out there, and I'm going to get him to select some investment funds with me. I talked last week about my favorite Canadian equity fund on this show, and I'm not going to give you the name of it anymore because I had a fellow in my office today put an awful lot of money in that fund based on what I said on last week's show. Didn't invest it with me. He went to his broker to get it, and why didn't the broker he already has tell him about it? See, there's a really good question. So you're out there, you're listening to the show, and you're just chomping at the bit. You've got some things to say, some questions to ask, some comments that you want to make. What do? Well, you make a phone call, 604-280-0650. The long distance, 1-877-280-0650. You log on, www.cisl.650.com. And if you're shy or reluctant to talk on the air, Frida's down at the office right now, area code 604-737-3512. If you're calling long distance down there, it's 1-800-661-1495. Once again, you just tuned in. I'm certified financial planner Fred Snyder, also registered financial planner. We're talking about your money, more importantly about your money and how to keep it. So again, why is it? Why do, you've probably got an opinion on this one because really it just baffles me. Why doesn't everybody have a written financial plan? How come my phone isn't ringing off the wall when I'm offering a free, no obligation financial plan that's going to become a roadmap, a blueprint that's going to help you get from poverty to riches? It's going to help you show you how to do that. It's going to show you how to make sure that you have the best investments inside your portfolio. I'm offering all that at no cost or obligation. How come my phone isn't ringing off the wall? Is it because you're afraid? Are you afraid to confront the problem? Maybe you need to deal with a problem like this head on. It's depressing. The outlook is extremely depressing. But you don't have to end up unsuccessful when it comes to keeping more of what you earn. No one needs to fail financially. You need to get on the financial planning train. You need to accept that principle. Let's talk to Robin from Vancouver. Robin, welcome to the program.
Hi, how you doing?
Pretty good, Robin. How are you?
Not too bad. I've only got about 1 minute, so I just want to very quickly say for the previous caller, one of the things I think many people make a mistake of is thinking that $1 is not worth any money at all. If you annualize your expenditures, so you want to go and buy a chocolate bar for $1, and you think you're doing that a few times a year, whatever, if you take that dollar and annualize it, it's $365 a year. In 10 years, you've spent a trip to Europe. If you annualize all your expenses, like you mentioned buying lunch, one of my nemesis is Starbucks. Why go to Starbucks and spend $6 when you can go to Tim Hortons and spend $1.88? That's my advice to your previous caller. Thanks for listening to me. I got to go pick up my little girl. Bye.
Robin, you're wonderful. I couldn't have said that better myself. I really
you have a
appreciate
good day and take care.
You too. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Now, Robin was right bang on when you see, it's only $1. It's only $1 today, but over a year, it's $365. But it's even more than that, because if you buy a chocolate bar for $1, that's not tax deductible. You had to earn almost $2 to have that $1. So if you can work on a before tax basis with investments, you got much more money to save and invest. We're talking 365 times 2, that's $720, $730 a year. That's a lot of money. Project that over the next 20 or 30 years, it's thousands of dollars. Start in a small way if you like, but start. Let's talk to David from Burnaby. David, welcome to the program.
Hi, Fred.
Hi, David. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Fred?
Pretty good.
I've been listening to you for years now.
Thank you.
But I hardly ever call in. So I just have a comment to make. I live on pretty much, I make a good wage. I make a good amount of money per year. But I live on nothing. Probably about 70% of the money that I that I earn, I save.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, advice to that caller who was making, because I made minimum wage, but with the minimum wage that I was making, I wouldn't throw it away on Starbucks. I wouldn't throw it away on Tim Hortons. I'd make my own coffee if I wanted coffee.
Sure.
You know, if I wanted to, instead of going out to the movies, I'd stay in and I'd have a movie night.
Yeah, I agree.
A movie from the library for free.
Yep.
That's how I accumulated the nest egg that I have right now.
How big's your nest egg?
I don't really want to say, but
Okay.
it's close to almost $1 million.
Well, there you go.
And I'm in my early 40s.
In your early 40s, you're a millionaire, and you did it because you paid yourself first, a definite, significant amount of fixed money on a regular basis.
And it's and you know, the car, you know, a lot of my friends, they'll change their car every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
I'm driving the same car since 1998.
Save a lot of money there too, don't you?
And I don't have a smartphone. I have a flip phone. They laugh at me, but you know what? I don't pay $70 a month. I pay $20 a month.
Well, there's where it all comes from. And, you know, and it's temptation. It's discipline. It takes discipline to do what you're doing. And that discipline, I think you learn it. You start doing it, it becomes a habit to be disciplined.
That's right.
Someone once said, form good habits and become their slave. So forming good habits, the habit of accumulating money, the habit of paying yourself first a definite amount of money, the habit of making sure you spend less than you earn, the habit of checking on your investments on a regular basis, that and much, much more is the secret. Make a list of all the good habits that you should become a slave to when it comes to the accumulation of money. Because it isn't easy, because you're fighting your emotions all the time.
That's right.
Half of you says, I want to buy that. That'll be pleasurable. I'll feel good if I buy that. The other half says, I can postpone that until tomorrow, and I'll get pleasure tomorrow. Maybe I'm better to postpone it until tomorrow.
And it's the peer pressure too. It's the people around you that are pressuring you to, just come with us and come out for dinner with us.
No question.
You know, but the advice that you've given over the years is, I've appreciate everything that you've given to all the radio listeners. It's there's no other show like this. It's just amazing what you do.
Well, David, thank you. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the compliment.
And I'm sure there's probably thousands of people that are listening that are feeling the same way, but they just don't call in and let you know.
Well, this call motivates me a lot. It makes me want to do even more shows.
But you know, Fred, just one before I leave, just another thing is now I have all this money accumulated, and you know the funny thing is I don't have a financial plan.
Yeah. But you kind of do in your head. It might not be formalized.
It's not formalized, so that's where I think I might need your help.
Well, all you have to do is call Frida. Be happy to provide you one, no cost, no obligation at all.
Would I be able to have you as my financial advisor?
Well, and thanks for asking that question. Everybody who calls me gets me. You don't get handed off to somebody else.
Okay, good, because I would want you.
I have a team of assistants, and all they do is assist me. I'm the advisor.
Okay.
So anybody who calls, I'm the one that looks after it.
Excellent. Thank you, Fred, and you have yourself a great weekend.
You too, David. Appreciate the call. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So again, if you just tuned in, I'm certified financial planner, Fred Snyder, also registered financial planner. We're talking about your money and how to keep it. We have to go to the break, and I think I have some callers on the line, so I'm going to go to the break, and when we come back, we'll take your calls. Don't go away.
Fred Snyder.
I want people to call the show that are genuinely interested in increasing their financial IQ so that they can become financially independent sooner and stay financially independent longer.
Fred Snyder.
You don't have a blueprint. Imagine trying to build a house without a blueprint. And how about having a blueprint for your life? What are your lifestyle goals? You need to think about your family life. What are your goals about your family life? What are your lifestyle goals when it comes to health? What are your lifestyle goals when it comes to finances, mental and spiritual? You have to set goals in all those areas, not just finances.
Fred Snyder.
Often we fail because we put too much emphasis on one area and ignore everything else. We work our butts off and we ruin our health. So life is all about balance. So you need a life plan.
Fred Snyder.
Napoleon Hill says this, wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. Anything that you can vividly imagine, ardently desire, and enthusiastically act upon will inevitably come to pass.
Fred Snyder.
My goal, my mission is to help people enhance their financial IQs by teaching them what they need to know to make better financial decisions.
Fred Snyder. Sunday mornings at 9 on CIL 650. This is CISL Vancouver. Smooth and easy. CIL 650. You're listening to It's Your Money on CIL 650. Once again, here is Fred Snyder.
Hi, we're back. And again, I'd like to thank all the listeners who called in so far today. And I encourage more of you listening to the show to call in. Make the call. You get yourself the book, How to Choose a Financial Advisor. You get yourself a written financial plan. Second opinion on your investment portfolio. Seated at our next workshop when we start them up again. And again, I remind you that I think the secret to financial success is financial education. I think it all starts with education. Had I had more education when I started into financial planning many years ago, I'd be even more successful today. Education is the foundation. That's what it's all about. So the first step in the financial planning process is to learn about money. Learn the secrets of money. They shouldn't be called secrets because the school should teach it. It shouldn't be a secret. Let's talk to Alan from Vancouver. Alan, welcome to the program. Hi,
Good
Alan.
morning, Fred. I would like to, first of all, reiterate what the last caller said to you about the value of your programs and your workshops. And every time I turn you on, I learn something new. And I also want to mention that I maybe represent a portion of the population that is different than, say, some of the other areas of the population, in that I'm self-employed and also did not have the kind of financial mentoring or education that you so ardently speak about. And I'm at a point right now where I am basically, I'm not retired yet, but according to the government, I'm semi-retired. and I think it's, I'm also at a point where I was able in the last 2.5 years to reduce my debt situation by about almost 90 to 95%.
Wow.
So
good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, I mean, but having said that, now I'm in a situation where I have to really think about what to do with what I have and how to be able to cause it to grow. Given that I'm in the 65 and over range, and I'm sure I represent a significant part of the population out there.
It starts with getting a second opinion on your investment portfolio.
Yes, it certainly does, Fred. And
we use
call Frida and set up an appointment with you next week. It's about time. I've been talking.
There's an internet program called ProStation, which we can run your investment portfolio through. ProStation does technically, I call it an MRI, a CAT scan, X-ray, whatever you want to call it. Analyze your total portfolio. It looks at your portfolio and says it's too risky, it's not risky enough. Here's the expected rates of return on it. This is what it's done compared to a benchmark. There's a whole written report, and that's really a legitimate second opinion on your investment portfolio. And I have a CFA that I employ full-time just to do those reports. No cost, no obligation. So if you submit your portfolio to us, we'll run it through and we'll say, it's good, it's neutral, it's terrible, whatever it is. So you get a chance to look at it. It's like a physical checkup.
That sounds like a very interesting opportunity. Certainly, this is the first time I've heard you mention ProStation.
Well, I don't think I've ever said it. I say second opinion, but it really is. It's called ProStation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't know if it's available to the public at large. It's certainly available to financial advisors. And it gives you a complete analysis according to a very specific format, tells you exactly what you have, and it's like a checkup. It's a checkup on your portfolio. It might say, for example, it might say that your standard deviation on your portfolio is 5. Well, 5 is low to moderate risk, halfway between. It might say it's 30. If your portfolio is 30, then you better have a high tolerance for risk because it's too risky. So I sit down with you and I say, what's your tolerance for risk? Is it low, moderate, or high? And you say it's moderate. And I say to you, well, ProStation says that your standard deviation on your portfolio is 40. You say, what? My advisor said it was low risk. So it's time to get a second opinion. So if you're out there, this is what we're talking about when we talk about a second opinion. Maybe we should explain it a little more in depth. Maybe I'm not explaining it well enough.
Well, thank you.
But every portfolio, at least once a year, should go through a ProStation report. And if you're a client of mine, that's what happens.
All right, Fred. Thank you. Thank you very much. And by the way, I want to reiterate, I have something that's going to be coming your way via the email, and that's a few photographs of you on your boat, which I have not sent you yet.
Oh, okay.
From our afternoon of salmon fishing without salmon.
There you go. We didn't get any of that day, did we?
Right.
Okay, Alan.
All right. Thank you again.
Appreciate the call. You take care. Bye for now. Okay, if you just tuned in, that line is now open. Alan's line is available, and we got Pat from Burnaby on the line. Pat, welcome to the program.
Hi.
Hi, Pat. How are you?
I'm running late for church. I'm always the one that calls in and running late for church, and here's another Sunday. But I just had to call in regards to the caller, I guess 2 callers before. I'm not sure what his name was, whether it was John or... Anyway, he's a 40-year-old, the millionaire, right?
Yes.
And that's all very good. I understand he is where he is today because he was very frugal with his money or very careful with his money. But what he needs to do, I think, is to start spending a little bit of it and enjoying life, because basically what he's doing, he's leaving it for someone that never earned his money.
Well, you got a point there. You know, like people, I don't know how much time we got here, but people spend a great deal of time learning how to accumulate money. Mm-hmm. And they get in the habit of accumulating money. Mm-hmm. And there comes a point when they have to start de-accumulating money.
Yep.
They got to start spending it, and they don't know how. They can't stop.
Yeah, and then they're going to end up leaving it to someone who never deserved it, probably.
You got it. You got it totally right. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, there comes a point.
Anyway, I couldn't get to church without calling you and making my comment.
Okay, Pat, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your call.
Thank you, Fred.
Enjoy church.
Okay,
take care.
bye-bye now.
Bye for now. Okay, I got lots of open lines right now. We got about 17 minutes to go. And by the way, I have a little brochure here, the 13 reasons why we fail financially. I've been citing some quotes out of this. Everybody who calls the show, if you call Frida, we'll send you a copy of this as well. 13 reasons why we fail financially and how to overcome them. Because really, there are. I used to pick 3 called limited vision, lack of knowledge, limited vision, and entrenched habits. And that was only 3, and that covered a lot of ground. But I took the time, I said, I want to find 13, because 13 is unlucky. So I defined 13 major reasons why we fail financially. I'm going to review those, because the solutions to those are all in this pamphlet. First reason is lack of knowledge, number 1. That's what we're talking about, lack of knowledge. Number 2 is limited vision. There it is again. That means no goals. Number 3 is entrenched habits, doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity. So number 3 is entrenched habits. Number 4 is not understanding the time value of money. We talked about that in the example of my car, my 55 Plymouth. Unsuitable investments. My investment portfolio is risky. My tolerance for risk is low. That investment is unsuitable. 6, not dealing with inflation. I don't take inflation into account when I look at my investments. If you figure on 3% inflation, divide 3 into 72, that's how long it takes for prices to double. Paying too much tax. I overpay my tax. I make no attempt whatsoever to legally mitigate my income tax. Number 8, not preparing for the unexpected. I'm traveling in the States. I don't have travel insurance, and I get in a car accident. I break both legs. I'm in the hospital for a month. I got a hospital bill that will put me into the poorhouse. I didn't prepare for the unexpected. I go to the doctor says I have terminal cancer, I wasn't expecting that. That's not preparing for the unexpected. Paying too much for the wrong kind of life insurance. The example of the lady paying $300 a month for life insurance right now, 10-year renewable term. To renew it, it's going to cost $900 a month for the next 10 years. She's not going to renew it because she can't afford to pay it. Now she's got no life insurance. Lack of a plan. I don't have a written financial plan. Number 10. It's free. No excuse. Give me a call. I'll provide one for you. No cost, no obligation. No cost, no obligation. What are you afraid of? Number 11, keeping your plan up to date. How often do you review your plan? And it should be at least once a year. Number 12, procrastination. Yeah, okay. Everything Snyder makes sense. The right thing to do. I'm going to do it someday. I'm going to do it when I get around to it. I have a calling card that's circular. And right across the back it says round to it. So I hand you one of those, and that says, you said you're going to do it when you get around to it. Well, here's around to it, so do it now. The best time to do anything is right now. You're out there, you're listening to the show. Best time to make the call is right now. Doing it yourself. Why should I pay somebody else to do all this for me? I'm going to do it for myself. And I see the work of do-it-yourself guys all the time in this business. 5 ways to fail, okay? So don't try to do it yourself. There's help available. There's the internet. There's well-qualified financial advisors. And again, everybody will get a copy of that brochure simply by making a call. Let's talk to Valerie from Delta. Valerie, welcome to the program.
Hi.
Hi, Valerie. How are you?
I'm good.
That's good.
I'm on income assistance, and it is very tight to budget.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what's your question? You can't budget?
Yeah.
Sure you can. You got to work. Have to work with what you have. So the first thing you do, Valerie, is here's the question: how much money do you need to live every month?
I get about 800.
That wasn't the question.
Oh.
I said, how much money do you need? Not how much do you have?
About 100.
You need $100 a month to live?
Yeah.
And you got 800 coming in?
Yeah.
Well, then you got 700 a month left over. You're in great shape.
But I pay bills too.
Well, but bills are part of what you spend. You see? So the bottom line is, you got to sit down with a piece of paper or a form or whatever you want to call it. How much money do you spend a month on groceries, Valerie?
I live with my daughter, and we all chip in.
Well, you see, we haven't even defined that number yet. We just chip in. You see, it's like trying to nail portage to a tree. Pretty hard to do. The average adult spends $300 a month on groceries. So if there's one person in your house, if there's 4 people in your household, that's $1,200 a month for groceries. Okay?
Yeah.
And how much rent do you pay?
500.
500, okay. So you got $1,700 a month now that you need to live. How about utilities, phone and all that? Another $300. That's $2,000 a month you need to live. Travel, you need $100 a month. That's $2,100. Homeowners insurance, we'll say $100. That's $2,200. So I'm up to $2,200 already. And you say you have $800 coming in? Well, that's from your income, but you say other people chip in. So how much do they chip in?
I don't know.
Well, you see, Peter Drucker, considered to be the dean of modern management, used to say, if you can't measure it, you can't plan it. So it starts by being able to measure your expenses. You need a budget. So if you call me at the office, I'll help you. But I got to go.
Okay.
I'm out of time. So,
okay.
So Valerie, thanks for calling. I appreciate the call.
All right.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, listeners out there, we're out of time. I have to go. Here every Sunday, same time, same station, talking about your money and how to keep it. Don't go away. See you next week. Bye for now.
If you'd like Fred to review your portfolio, call his office right now at 604-737-3512. That's 604-737-3512.